Okay, welcome everybody to our MLK Day in Lexington. Incredible opportunity for a youth and family activity. It's so great to see people on the screen here. It's a little different charitable activity than other ones we've had today. I hope you've enjoyed the programming at the Lexington 28th MLK Day commemoration and our 8th day of service. All of you who are on this program are participating in what is the highlight of our day, which is a service to give back to those less fortunate. And I'm so thrilled that you came to this particular event. My favorite of the program this year, which is the Hope and Comfort support organization, which is destined to wipe out hygiene insecurity. My name's Sam Zales. I'm a committee member for the Lexington MLK Day program. I'm just going to show you a couple quick slides before I turn it over to the team that's going to walk you through this incredible activity today. Give me 1 second. I hope you can see that screen. And if you can't, somebody will tell me you can't see it. So thanks again for participating. This is Dr. King's legacy. And as I said, our MLK Day Commemoration Committee and our Town Celebrations Committee, we are a subcomponent of that, sponsor this event and make it possible here in Lexington. We hope to serve Lexington and communities around us. I'd like to say a special thank you to our sponsors and support organizations. These are organizations that help us, a volunteering nonprofit organization, run the MLK Day event in Lexington. You can see the names. I'm even adding a number of them in Arlington who supported a very important event we're running today at Food Link to help those in need of food. So a terrific effort by so many organizations that sponsor us and support us. Thank you to all those organizations. My slides are working. I'd like to just mention before I turn it over to the Hope and Comfort team that we'd love you to be involved with us. We're a volunteer organization. A small number of people get together every year. We've served thousands of people, thousands of underserved communities, people in communities that need it, with hundreds of volunteers every year. We do it with a very small team. If you're interested, if you'd like to get involved, you can use our website. If you go to lexingtonmlk.org, you'll find a contact us opportunity for you to let us know that you're interested in supporting us. We'd love more help because we'd like to reach out to more organizations that are doing such great work like Hope and Comfort. I'm going to turn it over to the team now, and I'd just like to say thank you to the presenters today. First of all, Jesse Madelman, who's the Executive Director of Hope and Comfort, Abby McDonald, who's the Community Engagement Manager. Hope and Comfort's doing just tremendous work, and they were brought to us by a person I'm very fond of as well. That's my wife, Leslie Zales, who is going to be the manager of the program today. Leslie's a manager at what's called Project Giving Kids, an incredible organization that matches young people to volunteering opportunities at organizations like Hope and Comfort and tons of others around the Boston community to serve those in need. It's an incredible way to get young people involved at a young age to then take on the opportunity to give service back to those who are less fortunate. So Leslie's going to take over and introduce Jesse and Abby. They'll then do a presentation on Hope and Comfort. Then it's going to be an interactive process of putting on our hygiene kits and putting those together. And then we'll let you know where you can distribute those at the end of the program. We're also going to have essayists from the Lexington Middle Schools share their selections of essays that we've got coming up in the middle of the program for Dr. King's legacy. Thanks so much. Leslie Z, take it away.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sammy, for inviting me and allowing me to participate in your annual event here in town, and to all the committee members that made this day really successful and something I'm proud to be a part of. As Sam said, I work for Project Giving Kids, which is also a nonprofit, and we really work hard to bring youth and families together with nonprofits. And so we have hubs in Boston, LA, and San Francisco, but with COVID, our shining silver lining to the cloud is that we've become national, and we have an online presence across the country. And for those of you, I know I see some familiar faces who've been with us before. welcome back. And for those of you who don't know anything about Project Giving Kids, take a look at our website, and you can always email me. I'm on the site if you have any questions or if you want for me to do any outreach or education to your special groups. So I am privileged to work as partner with many very cool nonprofits. I love my job because I get to learn and meet so many different people in different capacities at different nonprofits. And one of my favorite nonprofits and one of my favorite people is Abby McDonald of Hope and Comfort. So I would like to introduce Abby McDonald.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Leslie and Sam, for the very warm introduction. Really excited to be with you guys here today. As Sam and Leslie mentioned, my name is Abby McDonald. I'm the Community Engagement Manager at Hope and Comfort. With us today, we also have Jessie Madelman, our Executive Director. You're going to hear a little bit from her later in just a minute. We also have, I want to give a special shout out to Yolanda Taylor, who's one of our board members and a resident of Lexington, along with her phenomenal kids and her family. And again, thank you, Sam and Leslie, but most of all, thank you guys for being here with us today. As you may know, Martin Luther King Day is traditionally a national day of service. So there's a lot of different opportunities that you guys can do today to, serve your community and give back. And you chose to participate with Hope and Comfort. So thank you, really. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm going to pass it off to Jessie, who's going to tell you a little bit more about our organization, what even is this thing called Hygiene Insecurity that we've mentioned, and then we're going to get into our activities. So Jessie, take it away.
All right, unmuting myself here. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. In addition to the shout outs that Abby just made, I also want to recognize Lucy Bradshaw, who I saw log on and is one of our youth board members, along with the Taylor kids. And there may be others on here that have participated with us in some way or another. So thank you so much to our youth leaders as well. As Abby said, our mission is to put an end to hygiene insecurity, but what even is hygiene insecurity? Really what we do is quite simple. We distribute basic hygiene products to young people in need all throughout Greater Boston to support and improve their health and their self-esteem. And we do that in tandem with hygiene education whenever possible. Hygiene insecurity, just like food insecurity or hunger, which you've probably heard of, is a very widespread issue. So you see a bunch of faces of young people pop up and a very big number here. Can anyone unmute themselves and give a guess as to what this number represents? Any guesses? You can write it in the chat if that's easiest.
A number of families homeless.
That's a good guess, and you're not far off. Any other ideas?
The number they have served.
Was that number of people served?
Yes.
Okay, very close. So this is actually the number of young people in the state of Massachusetts who are experiencing hygiene insecurity at any given time. This means that there are this many people conservatively that at any given time do not have access to a bar of soap or a tube of toothpaste in order to maintain their health and their self-esteem and dignity. It's an enormous number, just like we've heard about hunger being an enormous issue. But to put things in perspective, raise your hand if in better non-COVID times you've ever been to Fenway Park. A lot of us have, right? And even though it's small by ballpark standards, when you look around and it's a full ballpark, there's tons of people. You're just surrounded by noise and music and crowds and cheering. It feels huge when you're sitting in just one of those small seats. To put that 250,000 number in context, you could fill up Fenway Park 4 times over just with young people who are experiencing hygiene insecurity. So I think, numbers can be big and they can be disorienting, but when you really think about that time when you sat in Fenway Park, you see what an enormous issue hygiene insecurity is. And to put that in perspective, that's just Massachusetts. So it's an enormous issue. All right, another one for participation. And I know it's tough. If you hit your space bar, you can unmute yourself even just momentarily, but just go ahead and yell out, what's one of the first words that pops out to you from this word cloud here?
Marginalized.
Marginalized. Go ahead. No need to raise your hands. You all are very polite, but go ahead and just shout it out. One of the ones that always pops out to me is ashamed. Abby, what do you see first?
I always see teased and rejected, isolated, things like that.
Yeah.
I see hopeless.
Hopeless. Yeah, there's always one where your eye goes to first, but really all of these words are real words that we've heard from young people that we serve that talk about how they feel when they don't have regular access to hygiene products. We all know that hygiene is essential for health, right? I mean, all of us are probably washing our hands more now than we ever have in our lives before. And so, of course, we need soap to do that, not to mention toothpaste and toothbrush and shampoo and all these items that we use on a regular basis. But what we hear about even more arguably than health is self-esteem, and how can the young people we serve not feel teased, bullied, targeted, rejected. Oftentimes when folks are going to school and they haven't had the opportunity to brush their teeth, they haven't had the opportunity to comb their hair, feel presentable, look good, feel clean, they begin to internalize that and get down on themselves and have low self-esteem. And so just as much as we're working on a public health basis, we're also working on a mental health basis to empower the young people that we serve so that they feel good and feel confident and can approach their day with a sense of control and dignity. So I want to tell you a little story, and I want to take the time to step back and just share how Hope and Comfort started, because first of all, we're very fortunate to work closely with a founder and president who's a very inspiring gentleman. And if you ever have the chance to hear him speak, his name is Jeff Feingold. He's engaging and lovely. But I also think his story shows that an ordinary person can really build something extraordinary. And as you see here, there are pictures of a garage. So as I tell you a little bit about Hope and Comfort's beginnings, I would challenge each of you to think about, what do you care most about, and what can you do from your garage, no less, that might turn into something even bigger than you expected, because that's exactly how Hope and Comfort got started. So in this picture, we see two young kids. This is Jeff Feingold's kids. They're now teenagers, but when he started the organization, they were as young as 2. And what he said was, we're very fortunate. Our kids have toys. We have food on the table. This year for my kids' birthday parties, I'm going to ask my guests to bring something that a young kid would like as a donation. They didn't really think too much about it. They just thought, let's do something charitable this year. Guests came to the party. Remember the days when we could have birthday parties, and they brought all kinds of things. They brought, clothing, snacks, hygiene products. Someone even brought a bike, I'm told, and they gathered up all the donations after the party and brought them to a local charity to drop them off. And when they dropped them off, they were met by a social worker who said, all this stuff is great, but if you ever do this again, could you please focus on hygiene products? And they were pretty surprised, to be honest, because they had, a nice winter coat and some big toys and books. And they started to dig into, why was this social worker asking just for hygiene products? And they came to learn a couple of things. One is that hygiene products are not covered by the SNAP program, which you may know is formerly called the food stamps program. So if you are receiving assistance for your groceries, you can go to a grocery store, you can even get a bottle of soda or a bag of chips, but you can't get a bar of soap or a bottle of shampoo. They're completely excluded from the SNAP program. 2 is that they're often overlooked. These products are just not thought about. If you're donating to a food pantry, that pantry probably needs toothpaste just as much as it needs a can of soup, but it's really easy to forget that. And so for these couple of reasons, Jeff Feingold and his kids decided, we're going to just collect this stuff in our garage. And they started off very, very small, collecting items like you see here, piles of soap mixed in with their kids' bikes and their kids' sporting equipment. And they dropped them off to local nonprofit organizations. And they put up a website. And to their surprise, they were inundated with requests for hygiene products. And they couldn't believe how large the need was. People were calling into Hope and Comfort at the time in his garage, just saying that we don't know who to turn to for these items. And so they did even more research, and they realized that, although some organizations are supportive in small ways with travel size toiletries when they can, there was not a go-to resource that was solely focused on youth hygiene insecurity in this area. And so Hope and Comfort was really born from there. So fast forward to today, we're now coming up on our 10-year anniversary. We've grown quite a bit. We're no longer in the garage. We have a 5,000 square foot warehouse in Needham, Massachusetts, which when COVID allows, we would love to have you all in to volunteer and roll up your sleeves in person. We have hundreds of volunteers a year who pack hygiene kits in, large quantities, just like you're going to be doing from home today, in smaller quantities, and that help us out in a number of very strategic ways. We have a board that's growing. We're about 16 people on our board now, and a professional staff, as well as a youth board, who many of our youth here today are involved in, that have taken on really neat projects, such as launching an online store with Hope and Comfort t-shirts and sweatshirts and masks and bags. So we've been fortunate to really grow over the years, but it all came from that mustard seed of recognizing a need, starting something in a garage, and being the one to stand up and say, I'm going to take action. And that really is what Hope and Comfort's all about. But to me, that's also what MLK Day is all about. Just very quickly, this is just a snapshot of our growth, and I'd be glad to answer more questions if there are any that come up in detail later. But we distribute our products in partnerships with existing organizations. So if any of you work at or involved with other nonprofits, we distribute these items through the Boston Public Schools and Cradles for Crayons and dozens of food pantries and other youth serving organizations. So if you are involved with an organization that you think could benefit from receiving hygiene products for the young people that you all serve, please reach out to Hope and Comfort and let's make that happen. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. And so we know that there are tons of organizations on the front lines that are doing excellent things. And if we could supercharge their work by making it just that much easier for their participants to stay healthy and excited and motivated and want to show up, that's really where Hope and Comfort comes in. You'll see on the far left corner, can we just switch back for just a second? The far left column, is 2011. That was the garage days. So in those days, we distributed 1,000 products. We served about 300 people. We were raising less than $1,000 and we had very few volunteers. But if you fast forward all the way to the far right, you'll see that we're on track to distribute at least 2 million products in 2021 that will serve, over 75,000 people. We have really kicked up our fundraising, and our volunteers are climbing, although they were slightly down due to COVID. We expect that to bounce right back up once we're able to safely be back in person. And really a big driver of our growth in this past year has been COVID. And as you all know and have experienced in your own families, hygiene is even more important than ever. I'm sure that you stocked up on soap and sanitizer and toilet paper, and certainly we want to be able to allow our clients to do the same. And so over the past year, we went from serving 500,000, from distributing 500,000 products to tripling that. In 2021, we'll quadruple that because the need is enormous. And unfortunately, even though the vaccine is coming out and we expect that the public health threat will diminish, at least we hope over time, we know that the economic impacts on the clients that we serve, they're going to be felt disproportionately by families that are experiencing poverty. And so we're ready to continue ramping up our distributions to continue to support these families over the year plus to come, because COVID has really hit families hard. And although we're all weathering the same storm, we have very different boats that we're in. And so that has been a major reason for Hope and Comfort's growth over the last year, and a major reason why we're so excited to have your help and hands on deck today from afar, because we need all the support we can get in these times. And what you pack goes directly to young people in need who are experiencing hygiene insecurity and are depending on us to receive the products that they need for health, confidence, and dignity. So let me stop there. Thank you for listening to the story of Hope and Comfort. I hope it's inspiring and that you can take away a little bit of energy and inspiration as you go to pack your own kits, or even just think about initiatives that you may want to start from your garage someday. But let me take a rest there and ask you all if you have any questions or comments you'd like to share.
You now have the ability to unmute yourself. I'm so sorry that wasn't enabled. So
oh, sorry. Here I am asking for responses, and of course that's been disabled. So sorry about that, guys. Thanks for rolling with the punches there. But would love to hear questions, comments, ideas.
Oh, all right.
I think you've disabled comments.
The chat session is not here for some reason. I'm not sure
Yeah.
why. Nice observation,
Oh,
Rohan. Thanks for joining us.
All right, well, we can move on. And if you all are able to enable chit chat later on, we can have these discussions as you pack your kits. And certainly we welcome you to reach out via email to continue the conversation and discuss how you can get involved with Hope and Comfort, because we'd love to welcome you all to participate today, of course, as well as beyond today. Thank you.
And thank you for all you do. It's wonderful, incredible contributions. Really appreciate it.
awesome. Thank you, Jesse. All right, guys. I am just going to share my screen once again. Now that you kind of know the backstory about Hope and Comfort, what even is hygiene insecurity, why is the work that you're doing so important? It's time for us to get into actual service. So today's project, we are going to be packing hygiene kits and making well-wish cards for local youth. As you heard during the presentation, we have rapidly increased our product distributions, especially given in light of COVID. 2 million products is no small feat. So thank you for being a part of that and helping us distribute essential hygiene products to youth and families in need, ensuring that they can start their days with dignity and stay healthy, most importantly. Excuse me. So you should have all gotten a supply list before when you signed up for the event. If not, if you want to take a couple minutes right now and grab these things, or if you want to jot them down so you can pack kits later, that is okay. But today for the activity, you're going to need gallon-sized Ziploc bags, and then travel or full size, whatever you have is perfect, of toothpaste, shampoo, bar of soap, deodorant, and toothbrush. So these are our 5 core hygiene items. This is what gets distributed in every single hygiene kit that we pack, that gets distributed to every single youth that we serve. But of course, there are a ton of other hygiene products that we use every single day, like lotion and chapstick and conditioner. So if you have those things as well, great. You're also going to need either a blank index card, a folding card, or just some cardstock and markers, crayons, and colored pencils to make your well-wish cards, which get distributed in all of our kits and are really just a nice little reminder to the youth that we serve that people are thinking of them. They hope that they have a great day and, they're doing great. So before we pack our kits, you're going to gather all of your supplies and first complete a dignity double check. As Jesse mentioned, you can't give someone, a used hygiene product. Like, you may be able to donate a used shirt or a book that you've read or a toy that your child has grown out of. So before you pack your kits, double check that all of the products that you're packing are unopened and they're unexpired. That's both for health and safety reasons. And also we want to, ensure that the youth that are receiving our kits feel good about the products that they're getting and feel good about, receiving them. And then packing your kits is very simple. You just have to make sure to include one of each product and then drop a well-wish card or, 1 or 2 or 3 in your kit. Well-wish cards can be anything that, would brighten your day. So maybe it's going to say, "You rock, have a great day." You can draw a simple heart or a rainbow. Almost think of it kind of like as a birthday card. When you give a gift, you give a birthday card along with the birthday gift. Think of it like that. You're giving a card along with this gift that you're giving to someone by packing these kits and really giving them the gift of hygiene access. So I am going to turn it over to Leslie because we are also here today with us. We have 3 Lexington middle schoolers who are going to read their essays on Dr. King and just a reflection on his life and his impact. So I'm going to pass it over to Leslie.
Thanks so much, Abby. Before we do that, I'd really like to take a look at everybody and see what's happening out there. I have you all on, in my view, gallery view, and I'm looking into your rooms and seeing that have you guys started packing yet? Anybody want to show up? Oh, I see. Is it Lucy Contos? Yes, one of our essayists who will be speaking. Great job.
Does anyone have a well-wish card they want to share? I love to see well-wish cards that people make.
All right, Alexa and Kiara. How are those Zales girls doing? I don't see you doing very much of it. Okay, good, good. All right. Yeah, you guys are busy. This is great. Jason Pino, well done in your house.
I almost feel like we are in our warehouse because, you know, normally during these events, I'll be walking around, chit-chatting with everyone, seeing all of the great kits that they're packing. So it's great to see what you guys are doing on screen. And it looks like everyone is really busy. So
Great. While you guys are busy, I'm going to take this opportunity to share my screen. Hold on one second. And I'm going to share this. Hold on. There we go. I'm gonna just be able to share it so that you guys can see it. All right. Basically, what I'd like to do is introduce our essayist. And as part of the MLK committee, they have Neil McGarrigan, who runs the essay competition. And there were 24 or so applicants from middle schools, Clark and Diamond, who submitted their essay. And the question was, reflecting on Dr. King's legacy and teachings, what might he have said about the state of racial justice in our country today? What can you do now to support racial justice in our community? So the first speaker we'll be hearing from is Rosarias Speech. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. And she's a sixth grader from Clark. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can find you, Rosaria. And let's see, Rosaria, where are you? And once I find you, I'll spotlight you. Oh, I think I see you right there. There you go. Hi, Rosaria.
Hi.
Would you like to read for us today your essay?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy still lives on, even though he is not with us. He moved our country towards putting an end to segregation, changing the lives of the Black community forever. Now, a new problem has arisen. It is just another phase of the people of color have been treated throughout American history. Racial profiling, discrimination, and inequality are taking shape again. If Dr. King was here to solve the problem, what would be his approach? His strategy would be to lead us all to achieve racial justice in a peaceful manner. Dr. King would guide us to solve racial profiling through peaceful protests. Peaceful protesting is a way of gathering large groups to seek attention, non-violently. Since this protest isn't violent, anyone can join it, even children. It proves how powerful people can be when we work all together. Also, in these types of protests, people's voices can be heard, truly heard, because it's quiet. Politicians' attention ends up being drawn to the protest, and the message being conveyed by the protesters is more clear. Peaceful protests are still the solution to ending our racial issues in this country. Politically, Dr. King would guide the nation to achieve racial equality by passing police reform bills instead of defunding them. Recently, some police officers have been unjust and brutal to the people of color. In order to peacefully solve the conflict, Dr. King, if he were still with us, would lead us to support enforcing new laws, such as banning chokeholds and making police keep on body cameras when confronting suspects. He would want us to remember to fight to change the system, not against the people. If Dr. King was here today, which I wish he were, he would lead us to achieve racial justice in a peaceful manner. It's so very important to remember him always, but especially right now in history. Dr. King's teachings live on and are key to accomplishing racial justice. I will follow them to help my country, both now and in the future. Thank you.
Well done, Rosaria. Well done. Rosaria, as I said, is representing Clark in the 6th grade. Next up is represented from Diamond Middle School. We have 7th grader Krish Gandhi. Krish, let me find you before you start. That was really great words to share. Thank you so much, Rosara. I'm looking for you, Krish. Hold on.
Leslie, I found him. Do you want me to spotlight him?
Please do. Thank you so much. See your partner all.
Go for it.
There has always been racial injustice and discrimination from when the time Martin Luther King Jr. led the civil rights movement to when Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd. When it looked like America had put racism in its history books, things like the killing of George Floyd and the shooting of Breonna Taylor brings it all back. In Martin Luther King's time, America was the most divided it had ever been. As one of the most visible spokespeople at the time, MLK was inspired by the nonviolent beliefs of Mahatma Gandhi. Back then, there were many things that white people could get away with, but black people could not. In the 1950s, bathrooms were labeled to be used by either black or white people. The white bathrooms were very well taken care of, while the black bathrooms were often dirty and unhygienic. Thanks to the work that MLK did, our generation finds this concept absurd. He participated in and led marches that helped bring America together. MLK merged the two doors together, but his work is still incomplete. The recent events of police violence have really brought systemic racism to our attention. Systemic racism can take many forms. For instance, majority of male prison population is black. This is because if a black person commits a minor crime, they go to jail, while if a white person commits the same crime, they get a fine. The Senate, too, wasn't designed to benefit white population, but it has had that effect. This happens because residents of smaller, less diverse states have proportionally more representation than residents of larger, more diverse states. As David Leonhardt calculated, whites have 0.35 senators per million people, while blacks have only 0.26. As MLK once said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. If you see anything wrong in any aspect of society, speak up. Speak for the people who don't have a voice, and always treat people with dignity and respect. MLK fought to bring the world together. He fought so that his children could see a better day where black people and white people were together. MLK made the ultimate sacrifice to rid our society of racism, but there is still more to be done. The best way to honor his legacy is to work together as a country and eliminate systemic racism once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Krish. That was wonderful. And to conclude our essayist, we will spotlight Lucy Contos. Lucy is representing from 8th grade. Go ahead, Lucy.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. taught love, peace, justice. He said darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. MLK had so much love, and that is how he changed the lives of so many. That is how he changed the world for the better, leaving so many people inspired to take action against racism. His legacy still thrives today because his words empowered people to speak up and continue his work towards his dream of a world where one can go about and be seen for who they are inside, rather than being judged on sight based on prejudice. It is important for us to keep working towards this dream because after 58 years, our society still isn't there yet, which is frightful. MLK's words were so powerful, holding so much meaning. If MLK could see the disgusting amount of racial injustice in this country and in this world today, he would be disappointed. He would be angry, and we should be too. As a community and as individuals, we need to drive out the hate and keep showing love. Keep fighting for justice. Martin Luther King said, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you cannot walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward." There are so many ways to push forward towards racial justice. Joining a group is a great way to put efforts forth and join them together with others to multiply the impact. This is very effective, and the work can be very widely spread. The LPS system has a DEI group, which I have joined, that is doing strong work for diversity, equity, and inclusion in Lexington. We can also spread awareness using social media. Social media for this constructive purpose allows people and lots of people to reflect on their ideas and other people's ideas and actions on the topic, and then share those ideas with even more people to provoke thoughts and actions to help the cause. We need to normalize calling out everyday racism and put a stop to it. Let's start teaching others how to show love and respect rather than hate and cruelty. It is up to us all to eradicate systemic racism, and to do that, like MLK, we need to love and keep moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lucy is at the Clark School in 8th grade. I have no doubt that 3 of you will have a very bright future ahead, and we hope that you continue to stay involved with MLK, the program, the committee. We hope to see that you're future leaders in this committee, and thank you so much for all the thought that you put into this today. We're proud that you're part of our community. So we're going to head back to Abby. And Abby, if you want to, we can now use this time and share a reflection question.
Yeah, so as you're wrapping up packing your kits and just thinking about the words that you just heard from the middle schoolers, just take a couple minutes and we can have I would love to have a conversation with you guys about, just the questions that I have on the screen. How would you feel if you didn't access to have soap or shampoo? Why do you think learning about hygiene insecurity is important? What are other ways you can help youth and families in your community? And then 2, I would challenge you guys to think about the intersections between things like hygiene insecurity and racial and social justice. At first glance, you may be thinking, well, what does hygiene insecurity even have to do with racial justice and social justice? But hygiene insecurity is just one small thing in a larger system of inequities that people in our communities are facing, right? Hygiene insecurity is created because poverty exists and racism exists. And unfortunately, people of color are more likely to experience hygiene insecurity because of things like racial prejudice. So you may not immediately see the intersection between hygiene insecurity and the work that you're doing today, but even just packing hygiene kits and making well-wish cards, by doing that, you're chipping away at this larger system of inequities that people in our community face because of either, their race or their social class or other things like that. Does anyone have any reflections that they would want to share, either about the activity or the essays or even just MLK's legacy? I would love to hear them.
Abby, can you stop sharing screen so we can see some of these people? Thank you.
Definitely.
I love your connection between hygiene security and racial and social justice. That's exactly right. Feel free to unmute yourselves and speak and answer any of those reflection questions. Again, how would you feel if you didn't have access to soap and shampoo? Why do you think it's important to learn about hygiene and security? Feel free to participate. Take yourselves off mute.
I would love to hear about other ways that you guys are giving back today on this National Day of Service and really this whole weekend that's all about service. Any other activities that you've done, I'm sure that they're connected to hygiene and security in some way.
Mm-hmm. Anybody have any thoughts? Did anyone learn anything today? I think you did.
Yes, I learned that some people don't have the stuff that we get, so we should share some of our stuff with them.
That's exactly right.
Definitely. It's really as simple as that. It's just, isn't that what service is all about? Is taking the resources that you have, whether it's your time or hygiene products or making a donation, you have extra, so you want to share. I love that reflection. Thank you.
I love, I see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of familiar families on here. Can you tell us other ways in which you volunteer to help your community to make it equitable for all? I'm sure this is not the only volunteerism that you do. I'm sure you are actively involved. Can you share some of the other things that you do? And it doesn't have to be, it could be that you hold the door for the person behind you. I'd love to hear other ways in which you support your community.
My family and I, we donate a lot to Cradles to Crayons and go and volunteer a bunch, which is nice.
Awesome. Cradles to Crayons is one of our biggest partners. So you're supporting Cradles to Crayons and Hope and Comfort when you volunteer there. So thank you.
Some of the clothes I grow out of them, we donate.
Definitely grow out of clothes and you donate them. I do the same thing when, I'm done with an item of clothing and it's still in good condition.
Which reminds me, another one of our partners, you partner with them as well, Abby, is Katie's Closet. And unlike a lot of nonprofits, they are collecting clothes right now. So if you think that you don't have a place to donate your stuff during COVID, Katie's Closet will take anything you have and will definitely put it to good use. So if you want to learn more about them, you can visit projectgivingkids.org. Okay, should we move along and let them know where to deliver kits and what are ways to stay involved?
Definitely.
All right.
Actually, my family does one thing.
Oh, we'd love to
So when we're done with clothes and it's not a fit anymore, we donate it to the nearest donation.
You do? And are you actively involved in that? Do you help gather your things so that
Yeah.
they can be given? How does that make you feel?
Good.
That's great. And I'm sure the person receiving it makes them feel good too. Keep it up. Great job.
Awesome.
Another thing my family does is we donate clothes and other items to I think it's called Little Sister, Big Brother, Big Sister. Like we donate our clothes there.
Definitely. Big Brother, Big Sister does incredible work. And I hope that as you guys are talking about how service makes you feel really good when you do service, right? Or you donate. Chase that feeling and continue to give back in your community, both today and then future opportunities too, even as something as simple as donating a t-shirt that you've grown out of or a jacket that you no longer wear makes a huge difference.
Can I share something?
Of course.
Hi, I live in Lexington too, and a local mom runs another nonprofit which is connected to Hygiene Need, which is something that I had never considered before, diaper need. The Beantown Baby Diaper Bank collects diapers and delivers them to local food banks around the Lexington area. And I learned about it a couple of years ago when we became friends, and it's something that I'd never considered before, not being able to afford diapers. And of course, it's such a despairing feeling to think that you might not be able to keep your baby safe and clean and healthy. And it's just an enormous unmet need that I think a lot of people don't know about.
I really
There's
appreciate
a
that
deposit
you
box
mentioned
in
them.
Stop and Shop.
Beantown Baby Diaper Bank is also a partner with PGK, and you can find more about them and where to donate on our site. So thank you. That's wonderful.
Another really big need in the community as well is menstrual hygiene products too. We do a lot of work around menstrual hygiene, and it's all of these things that, when you hear that folks can't afford things like bars of soap or menstrual products or diapers, my first thought immediately is always, well, why aren't these things covered? They really should be. So I feel like there's a larger conversation that there needs to be had around, making the connection of just how essential these items are, in addition to food and housing and these other, basic needs that are covered by government programs. But this is great conversation, guys. And I'm just going to share, as we kind of start to wrap up, where to deliver your kits. So, you've packed these great hygiene kits, you've made well wish cards. So there you have a couple different options. You can email me at amacdonald@hopeandcomfort.org if you want to schedule a time for a contactless drop off at the Hope and Comfort warehouse. And I can make sure that you receive my email even after the fact, because as I'm thinking, oh, I'll drop it in the chat. There is no chat to drop it in. So you can drop off kits at the Hope and Comfort warehouse. If you want to stay local in Lexington, big shout out again to the Zales family and the Taylor family. You can drop off on their front steps and their front porch at 7 Page Road in Lexington or 11 Holmes Road. Or you can also mail completed kits to Hope and Comfort at 659 Highland Ave in Needham, Massachusetts. If you have extra well wish cards, you can send those in the mail as well. So lots of different ways for you guys to get your kits to us. And again, I'll send out all of this information as well. So don't worry about jotting it all down frantically or taking a screenshot or anything. And then two other ways that you can help. You can always visit our website, hopeandcomfort.org, to learn more about our mission and learn more about hygiene insecurity. Definitely, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We post a lot about our work, everything from partners that have picked up, volunteers, client testimonials. It's a great way to keep track of what we're doing. And then another great thing that you guys can do to stay involved in our mission is to lead a hygiene product drive. This is just like a food drive where you collect food and you donate it to a food pantry, except instead of food, you're collecting hygiene products. And then, of course, if you have another idea or you have a question or you want to provide feedback about the event, I want to hear from you. So feel free to reach out to me at amacdonald@hopeandcomfort.org. I love working with youth. I love working with families. So please feel free to be in touch. And we can chat about other ways that you can support our mission.
Thank you so much, Abby. And before I hand it back over to Sam for closure, thank you everybody for your support in our town, for Hope and Comfort, and for being present today. It was a great use of our time to acknowledge MLK and his mission of equity and justice for all. And thank you, Sam, for including PGK and Hope and Comfort. And I will let you close up our session today. Thanks, Abby. Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Well, I think you just hit all the key thank yous. First of all, thank you to everybody participating today. What a great legacy you're creating for future generations to give back and try to stamp out hygiene insecurity. Everybody who participated, friends in the community, young people, you're doing so much. Jesse and Abby, what great work you're doing at Hope and Comfort. And thanks to Yolanda Taylor as a board member who's brought the organization into our Lexington community. Thank you to my amazing wife, and I hope you do remember Leslie's PGK. What a great organization. Again, if you're the kind of people who care about giving back to the community, you're doing that so well for all others, and you will be finding more opportunities to support the community. You have the place to drop off the donations. I think it's great if you can go see the Hope and Comfort facility. I think you'll get more excited about how much work they do for the community. Obviously, our house and the Taylor's house is also available to you. I see some family members, so I have to thank my mom who taught me to give back to the community. Mug Zales is on, as well as our two of our three daughters, Jessie and Betsy Zales. Thanks to all our friends and everybody here who participated. You made such a difference to make Martin Luther King Day an important legacy for you and our community. Let's keep working hard to push back to create social and racial justice. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.